Hello everyone, welcome to another event for the B-League in the Everlight Season 1. Here we just saw this event in the A-League. Here we have once again, block bumping. Hello everyone, I'm Mark, and welcome to the third event of the B Division, like I said before. In the overall standings after the last event, after a beautiful goal for the additional pulses, they jumped all the way up to 4th place, but the Foolish Fusion is just 1 point between them and the second place Drop Dancers, and the record is still 69.95 by the Carnival Mask. Let's see if any team will be able to beat this record for the Carnival Masks. Of course, in the qualifiers they had a beautiful run, and anyone so far in this season was able to come close, or I mean, almost. We saw that last, a little spoiler, in the league last event, we saw the Learning Chargers winning the GOAT, so let's see if anyone will be able to reach that mark. And in the test run here, we can see, and a lot of teams struggled with the first marble that pushed the block, but somehow still got stuck in the track, and this is going to really hurt the overall run of the teams that had this problem with the first member. So all the teams are really going to try to have those beautiful launches that we saw and bumps also that we saw here for the third member of the Cobalt Forgers. Let's see, the score is really not great. We can see here's 43.20. Would be P1, but I mean, it's the fast run, so it's not a good margin compared to the league score. So let's see. Starting off with the Electrojets, of course, that last place team in the overall standings for the B division, they have struggled so far in this B division. They also struggled in the qualifiers. They're not great in this event in the qualifiers. Let's see what they can do. First two pushes was really decent. Let's see the third and the fourth one that can really change something, but it's not going to happen. Like the A-League, the Jazzernauts with a terrible push in the first run. We can see here the Electrojets might have worse push than that, I think, or not, because this is not looking really good for the Electrojets. The first two pushes was alright, but the third and the fourth one, the third one especially, they really fell off the track, and the fourth one just got a little push, but also fell off the track in 32.45. This is not great for the Electrojets. Team that last place in the overall standings once again struggling here with only 4 points in the first two events. This is not going to be much better for them. Kindle Keepers is really going to try to beat this, but I don't think it's going to be a hard task for the Kindle Keepers, despite being the 15th place in the overall standings. Let's see what they can do here. First three pushes are really great, so they already have guaranteed to place ahead of the Electrojets. But look at this beautiful anchor of the Kindle Keepers. That was a really clever run for the Kindle Keepers, in my opinion. The first three pushes are really great, but it really set a good line for the anchor to really hit their teammates, and had a beautiful bump to push over 50 already. We really struggled to see this in the A-League. We really saw some runs before we saw a 50+ run, but in this case here, we are already reaching that mark. This is really good for the Kindle Keepers. They're going to take the P1 for now. Let's see what the Aura Spheres can do now. Another team that are in the relegation zone. They are, of course, in 14th in the overall standing, so they really need something, because they also did really bad in the qualifiers in their group. So let's see what they can do. First three pushes are really decent and already in the 40s. Let's see the anchor. The anchor couldn't do much, so this is not going to be a very great result for the Overspheres. They had a pretty decent opportunity to maybe give like we saw the last run with the Kindle Keepers, a beautiful launch to maybe they would have been past the Kindle Keepers if they had a better anchor. So in this case, unfortunately, the Overspheres couldn't do that, so only going to be able to finish P2 for now. But I mean, it is not a terrible push, but compared to the A-League, it would have been bottom half. So not looking good, really good for the Outer Spheres. Let's see the Toxic Bombers, another team in relegation zone, putting the captain to the back. We saw a lot of captains putting in the back in the A-League, I think, and also here in the B-League is not a different fact. So let's see, the first two pushes of the Toxic Bombers are really decent. The third one fell at the track, but got a little push. Let's see the anchor, and it was not a great anchor once again. We see a lot of teams also in the A-League really struggling with the anchor. Maybe some teams really lacking of strength, but In this case here, I think it was just not a good team playing here for the. Oh, it was actually not a. I think that the other two members were not exactly close to the block, so that really maybe difficult the Inker to get a good push. But P2 for now, 46.40, also not exactly the greatest push, but let's see how this is going to stack with the other teams. They still have 12 runs to go, so everything can happen. Let's now go to the Puppy Crew. Puppy Crew 12th place in the overall standings. They are just barely ahead of the relegation zone after a terrible result in the last event. The first two pushes were really massive. Wait a second, already in the 40s. Wait a second, the third push was really good. And look at the anchor, past the 60. I think that passed the 60. Puppy Crew might clinch a podium here already, I think, because we didn't saw any run in the A-League outside of the winners, the Lunar Outriders, passing the 60s, and I think the Puppy Crew might have just passed the 60 mark here. Let's see the graphic, and yes, 60.20. Puppy Crew are going to have a massive lead compared to the Kindle Keepers that are now in the second place, but let's see if anyone can beat that, because I think it's going to be a very hard task with considering the conditions that we saw in the A-League, and they also we are seeing here in the B Division. Let's see if anyone can do that, because I don't think it's going to happen. But let's see, Sea Masters is going right now. They're also really struggling here in the standings. This run is really decent, but nothing much to talk about. The first two pushes were really decent, already in the 30s, but the third push, like Toxic Bombers, they gave a little push but fell at the track, and the anchor tried to do something, and he had a pretty decent anchor, but unfortunately not going to pass the 50, so only going to be able to finish P3 for now. Let's see if they will be able to continue in this position. Let's go now with the Rebel Rodents. Rebel Rodents, of course, team 10th place in the overall standings right now. They had a pretty decent result with the reserve Rascal in the first event, but the second event last time was not great, so they really fell off the standings because everyone is so close. So let's see what they can do here. They did great in the event qualifiers, and they are showing here the strength. The third push was really great. Let's see the anchor, and that is not a good anchor, but it's still past the 54. Despite not being the good anchor for the Rebel Rodents, the first three pushes really carried that run. And especially this third one was really great. And really setting up the team to finish in a pretty decent position in this event, I think. They're going to really place in the top half, I think, for sure. Because we didn't saw that common fact about the teams in the A-League to have much runs above the 50s. So P2 for now for the Rebel Rodents, that is a good mark for them. Let's see the Carnival Masks, they can do that. The best team to not qualify for the season 1 of the RLI, they are here and they are one of the winners of the qualifiers. Of course, the record holders of this event. Let's see what they can do here. The first two pushes are really great. Third one is also good. Let's see the anchor, and that is a good anchor, but it was not quite enough. I think that is not quite enough to beat the Puppy Crew. The Carnival Masks are they did a great job here. Maybe the third push was not exactly the greatest because they needed to bump their teammate to the block, so that maybe caused some centimeters for them. But it's plus a 59 run. That is a great run for the Carnival Mask, and put another the P2 for the Carnival Mask once again. That was a really great run for the Carnival Mask, but maybe they are a little worried about it because it could have been a great run for them to pass the Puppy Crew. But after the halfway mark, the Puppy Crew are leading the overall standings here in the event. I mean, the result here so far. Let's see if any team in the second half can do anything. Trio 4 Troopers is starting off with them in the second half. They are literally in the 8th place in the overall standings. Got a medal last event after getting, I think, 15th place in the first event. So let's see what they can do here. The first push was not great at all. The second one was decent. Let's see the third and fourth. They're trying to come in with a pack, and it's not going to be very good push for them. Despite a pretty decent bumps that all the members had, I think maybe the first one is definitely not exactly the greatest push, I mean, but the second and third. In the fourth one was pretty decent, but not quite. They didn't have the strength to push much further, and only P6 out of 9 so far with a 46.55. It's not going to be much, a very decent overall result for the Room for Troopers, I think. The slipstreams right now. Slipstreams are really being a surprise here in this showdown. They are doing pretty decent in the overall standings despite struggling so much in the qualifiers. So let's see what they can do here. The first two pushes was really great. The third one, they fell at the track. The anchor really salvaged something for the team, because I think that is above 50s. The first two pushes was really great for the team, but the third one really hit their teammates in not a great way, so they caused to follow the track. But the anchor really did something also to bump their block to plus 50 run. P5 for them so far. They're really in the middle of the pack. The team is really doing a decent job so far in this B division. So let's see if they're able to keep up with these good results that they are having so far this season. Let's see now the Pump Powerhousers. They are one of the pretty decent teams in strength events, I think. They did a pretty decent event in the qualifiers. Let's see what they can do here. The first three pushes are really decent. The third one especially are really great. And the anchor! What a good anchor we saw here right now! The Pump Powerhouses, what a good anchor that they have. Really showing their using their name here. Living it up their name with their really strength. Really powerful push by the anchor here. Look at this. A beautiful launch for the Pump Powerhouses. This is going to really put them in a good position right here. Yeah, P3, 55.20. Pump Powerhouses in a really decent position to maybe get their first podium ever. Let's see if the Origami Ornaments will be able to take that place. They are also one of the greatest teams in strength events. I mean, in the block bumping at least, because they got I think a silver medal in this event in the qualifiers. Let's see what they can do here. They are having a really decent season so far also in this showdown. Let's see what they can do. First three pushes were really great. Let's see the anchor. And that is not exactly the greatest anchor, but was a decent one. So that might actually pass the Pump Powerhouses, I think, or not. I need to see better, because the overall run was really great. We can see here they really showed some strength here. Oh, maybe the anchor after hit their third member right here, maybe lost some centimeters here. And yes, yeah, 54.30, only be able to P5 despite a really decent run for the Origami Ornaments. Not quite a podium for them, but it's still a decent result for the team that is quite high in the order. Now the Ignition Pulses, winners of the last event. Let's see what they can do here. Ignition Pulses, after a beautiful goal last season in this event, in the collective pursuit. Let's see what they can do in this event to maybe get another decent result and really set as a top team in the overall standings here. And it is not going to happen. Ignition Pulses, what a bad run they had. That is really I think it is really a skill issue for the team, not showing much strength here in this event, which is really based much in strength and teamwork. They really didn't have the strength to push their block even further. And only above 46.30, only P11. A really inconsistent result so far the Ignition Pulses are having this season. I think 12 plays in the first event, gold in the last event, and now in another bottom half finish, I think, confirmed for them in this event. So not a great result for the Ignition Pulses. Let's see what the Dazzling Stars can do in this event. They did, I think, really bad in this event to the qualifiers, but let's see what they can do here. Maybe they had improved their strength skills, and it's not quite that. But I think I got a little illusioned because of the second member of the Dazzling Stars. I pushed a pretty decent, it was a decent push, but the third one, and also I think especially the fourth one, really didn't have the strength to push the block much further, and only above 47. It is not going to be really good for the Dazzling Stars, one of the teams that only have top half finish so far in this B division, and only going to be a P9 finish for them at the best. Not great for the Dazzling Stars. Let's see what the Dewdrop Dancers now can do. The runner-up so far in the overall standings. Let's see what they can do. They really need to do a great job to maybe pass the Foolish Fusion. They are only 1 point behind them, so they really have a good opportunity here. Let's see what they can do. The first 2 pushes are really good. The third one fell on the track. This is going to hurt them a lot. The fourth one was also not great. Not passing the 48, I think, for the Dewdrop Dancers. This is not going to be a great result for the team. They did a good job in the last 2 events, in the first 2 events of the season, but like the Dazzling Stars, I think their top half streak run are going to end right here. Let's see the results. And yeah, P10 is going to be even worse than the Dazzling Stars. So Dewdrop Nation is not in a great position right now, and this is going to open the door for the Foliage Fusion to expand their lead in the overall standings for the B division, and maybe really get a comfortable position in the overall standings. Let's see what they can do in this event. They also were a team that did really bad in this event in the qualifiers. Let's see what they can do. The second and third coming with the packet is not looking good so far for the Foolish Fusion. What is happening here? The anchor tried to do something and it was a decent anchor, but overall the run for the Foolish Fusion were really weak. Foliage Fusion, I think we might see here a switch of positions, because the teams at the bottom of the standings really trying to catch the teams that high in the standings, and this is not going to be a podium for the Foliage Fusion, confirmed, and this is going to confirm the win for the Puppy Crew. The Puppy Crew are going to win the gold medal, and only P12 for the Foliage Fusion is also even worse than the other 2 teams in the top 3 overall in the overall standings. Oh my god, the Puppy Crew are going to win this by a pretty decent margin over the Carnival Masks, and the Palm Powerhouses are going to finish the podium. All new teams, and once again, like the A-League, the trend for the first 3 events is happening here. The first 3 events only had newcomers in the podium, and this is going to continue here in the B division. A beautiful podium we have here, a beautiful run for the Puppy Crew, great recovery for the team that is really low in the overall standings, almost in the relegation zone. This is going to launch them in the overall standings, maybe to the top half, and yes, a P7 for them right now. The Dewdrop Dancers take the lead by 1 point. The Foliage Fusion and the Origamerns are tied for the second place, but look at the standings, how close everyone is. Maybe the bottom 4 are really not exactly close to the top 12, but the other 12 teams are really close. Oh my god, and we are going to see everyone till the next event, that is going to be the event 7 for the A-League Wrestling. Goodbye.